I'm leaving him for my ex, and I don't like that he's so upset about it. I, 22 female, was in a relationship with Mark, 23 male. I don't know if I believe in something like soulmates, but if they ever did exist, we were the closest thing to it. Even though someone can be right for you, it can still be the wrong time, and that's what it was. It was the wrong time, so I broke up with him through the most painful breakup of my life, and I told him that if it was really meant to be, then we would find each other again, and I would give us another chance if the time was right. Then, months later, I met Luca, 25 male. It wasn't really meant to be anything, and I told him that from the start. I told him that I just wanted a friends with benefit at most, but nothing more. I wasn't ready for anything more. He asked me why, and I was honest, and the conversation went a little bit like this. I have unfinished business with my ex, and I know when the time comes, I'll need to close that door, so it's not fair to anyone if I start a new chapter with you knowing that the last one isn't finished yet. Why not finish it now? Because I'm not ready. When will you be ready? I don't know. Well, whatever, I'll wait for you. You would be waiting for a while. That's fine, it's worth it to me. I can't lie and say that I don't have feelings for him. I can't lie and say that there isn't something there. There is. I don't think of Mark when I'm with him. It's just us, and that's how I like it. So there's definitely something there, but it's the commitment I'm scared of. It had been 5 months with him, and he stopped asking me to be his girlfriend around month 3 after I said that if he asked me again, I'd have to step away. We had fun, gone out, and done everything couples would do, but I didn't let him get too close. Anytime it got serious, I reminded him it wasn't exclusive and that in the end, there was no strings attached, at least not on my end. I told him many times, and I told him to keep his options open for others. I told him he could get hurt if he put all his eggs in my basket, and that I didn't want them anyways. I was open, I was honest. He said he wouldn't mind getting hurt by me, and that in the end, he knows what he's doing. Looking back, maybe I should have just ended it there. Now Mark is back. We ran into each other at the gym, and we talked so long that the triangle from my pre-workout stopped before I even touched away. It was like everything came back at once. The time, the energy, the love. He asked me to go to lunch, and I was reluctant at first, but eventually said yes. We talked so much, our food got cold, and the ice melted in our drinks. He told me about his life and all of the changes, all of the differences. It felt like almost all of the obstacles that were once in our way were now gone. Then I told him about my life, and I told him about Luca. Mark asked if I would still give him another chance, and I told him I would have to think about it. I told him I would need time. It destroyed Luca to hear about it, but I warned him. I told him this would happen. I told him he would get hurt. I was honest. How could I have been more transparent? He's 25. He makes his own decisions. So why do I feel guilty? I'm not his mom. It's not my fault, is it? I waited 3 weeks before officially breaking whatever Luca and I had off. I needed time to think and time to see that Mark was really ready. We're not in a relationship, but we're seeing each other. We're getting closer again. We're getting back to where we were and where we left off. Luca called me the devil and said that if there were ever anything good about him being with me, it was that he knows now to never make that mistake again. I can't say I'm not sad. I'll miss him, but I don't want to feel guilty anymore. I want to focus on my future and I want to focus on Mark. It'll be okay, but I'm sorry, Luca. 4 days ago, I think I met my long lost sister. Growing up, I was told by my adoptive parents that I was adopted at 10 months old. They're always open about it. They framed up a picture of me and my parents and placed it in my room so I would always remember them. They even track down their grave and take me there once every 2 years. We'll have a little picnic and they will ask me to share my achievements with my biological parents. They didn't change my last name to theirs and allowed me to decide whether I want to change it, which I did in my teens. I am now 27, a nurse, and I live on my own with my cat, just a few hours away from my adoptive parents. I have a neighbor, let's call her Anna. She's a marine biologist, married, and has 3 kids. We often chat when we bump into each other in the hallway, or her kids will come over to my place to play with my cat. 4 days ago, I got a knock on my door, and it was Anna. Turns out her nanny went MIA on her at the last minute, and it was already late for a close friend's wedding, and was wondering if I can watch the kids for a couple of hours while they're gone. She asked me if I can watch them at her apartment instead, since her youngest is sleeping. I grabbed my stuff and went over next door. We played dolls, played pretend, and ordered food and watched a movie after that. So I told the kids to keep their toys before the food arrived, and while we were at it, I saw something that made my heart drop. I saw a picture of my parents. They looked so much younger, and it was a different picture from what I had. I asked Anna's kids if they knew who these people were. They told me that they had no idea who it was. My curiosity grew more and more. I texted my adoptive parents if they knew if I had any siblings. They told me that they were not too certain, but in the adoption profile, it stated that I'm alone and without any siblings. A few hours later, Anna got home. I was inquisitive to know and I couldn't wait any longer. I asked Anna who this young couple was. Anna told me it was her parents, and they died when she was 6. She was then raised by her aunt. I was shocked. I feel like throwing up. This can't be real. I have a sister. I went home and did some social engineering. I went on Facebook and Instagram to see what I could find. I found the profile of an old lady I believe is the one that raised Anna. I see that she refers to Anna as her daughter, and I was looking at pictures and I found a rather similar picture to what my adoptive parents gave me, just without me in it. I called my adoptive parents, crying, telling them what I found. They drove for hours to come to me when I showed them, and the three of us cried together. They told me that I should let her know. I don't know if I should because it seems like she doesn't know that I exist. I gathered myself and yes, I spoke to Anna. I invited her to my apartment away from her kids so the both of us can sit down and talk about it. I showed her the picture that I have. She's as confused as I am. I told her that we might be sisters. I could see the tears building up at the edge of her eyes. She told me she wants to be excused. She left my apartment and I thought that was it. For a while, there's so much of what ifs. What if she's my cousin? What if the baby in the photo is not me? What if there was a mix-up at the adoption home? A few minutes later, she knocked on my apartment door. She brought her laptop, the photo of her parents, and her phone. We compared our pictures, and yes, they're the same person. I showed my birth certificate and how I changed my last name during my teens, as well as my adoption papers. I told her that I have a birthmark on the left side of my butt cheek, and yes, she remembered. We looked at each other and we started sobbing. She came to hug me and told me that at times she couldn't believe that I'm gone because she loves me so much. She told me how she thought I was dead and that broke her. She video called her aunt, the one that raised her. Let's call her Lucy. When Anna introduced me to Aunt Lucy, she looked horrified. She even asked if Anna got mixed up because she was pretty sure I was dead. We showed her my birth certificate and all the adoption documents, and once she saw there was evidence, she started crying and kept on apologizing. Aunt Lucy was hesitating at first, but we told her how we deserved to know the truth. Here goes the side of the story I never knew. Firstly, my parents died in two separate accidents. My mom and I met with an accident first. I was fine, but my mom suffered multiple injuries, and when my father got to know, he rushed to the hospital to meet my mom, but he lost control of the car and crashed onto the road divider. Both died at the same hospital, just minutes apart. She was then told that I died too. My sister got sick shortly after my parents' death and couldn't attend my funeral. My dad was a marine biologist, just like Anna, and my mom was a general surgeon. We have an uncle, let's call him John. So apparently, Aunt Lucy and Uncle John needed money. Aunt Lucy had lots of kids, hence she couldn't afford to raise both of us, while Uncle John and his wife were into traveling and could use some money for their adventures. I have no idea, but somehow they managed to get whatever our parents have left us and split it into two. I was given to Uncle John, but he must have placed me at an adoption home and then fled the country. All the while, Aunt Lucy knew about me and how I was placed at an adoption home, but she chooses to keep quiet. A few years later, I was sent to the adoption home. Uncle John and his wife came back to the nursing to get me, but they learned that I was already adopted. It's sad to learn his motives were to receive government reimbursement while I was under their foster care. I felt extremely lucky to be adopted by a family who loved, cared for, and raised me like their own. My adoptive parents were a mature couple when they adopted me. They tried to conceive for so many years, but it failed, and so it resulted in me being adopted, and they told me it was the best decision they'd ever made. Anna is not speaking to Aunt Lucy now, and she told me how she felt betrayed and deceived all these years while denying a sibling love just for her own personal gain. She's even looking into taking legal action against both of them. Me and Anna embraced for a long time. There's a lot to catch up, and I'm excited that I'm an aunt to 3 beautiful kids. The feeling is foreign, but the feeling of being loved by a sibling is beyond words.